welcome to Cover 2 Cook. We're on episode 174. It's just Lisa and I today. Due to technical difficulties, we don't have Mr. Tim Cook today. We are going to recap the Sunday night, Monday night football. We're going to talk about the power rankings and a great upcoming Thursday game as well. And then we're going to move on to college football and the new segment of college volleyball, as a lot of people actually enjoyed watching us talk about volleyball. I think it's a lot to do to Lisa, so we will talk about that as well. So let's get it started.
Yeah, I was going to do a vertical jump there. Thank you, Socks.
Travel been to Indiana, and did Cover 2 Cook get you a good hotel?
Indiana? No, I'm in Louisiana. I'm here for Mardi Gras.
I know that this might be hard, but I don't know how much you remember Friday night since we left you damn near when you fell asleep.
I got my belly full, man. I was like, I warm covers and warm. I was like, I could go to sleep right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Jack Dorsey.
Final answer?
Yes. All right.
This is going to be a long fucking day.
Welcome back to Cover 2 Cook. We're on episode 174. It's just Anthony and I tonight. We had a little technical difficulties and we couldn't have Tim join us tonight. But don't you worry. We're still going to talk about Sunday night and Monday night's game. So, Anthony, why don't you take me through the Vikings versus Cowboys?
Yeah, those Vikings look good. I love it. I will say this game went into halftime 17-17. But the Vikings would score touchdowns in the second half while the Cowboys kicked field goals. Now, don't get me wrong. Brandon Aubrey is a great field goal kicker. But you got CeeDee Lamb. You got George Pickens. You got all these other players that could do more. J.J. McCarthy played pretty well for this game. 3 touchdowns, 2 passing, 1 rushing. I say he played okay because of the inconsistent throws. There's still some that he's missing. I don't love that about him. And then I got to talk about his gritty into the end zone. Because that gritty in the end zone, I'm not a fan of it. And why I'm not a fan of it is because let's put a couple games together before we start gritting in the end zone. Let's get Justin Jefferson a touchdown, huh? How about that before we start gritting in the end zone? Vikings defense also played very, very well. Because remember, this is a Cowboys team that's got a pretty solid offense, and they held them down. Cowboys are not officially eliminated from the playoffs yet. They have a 1% chance. Now, the only way this happens is the Eagles lose every single game for the rest of the year, and the Cowboys win every single game of the year. I don't think that's going to happen. It's really due to actually their tie, and we've talked about that. Like, how does that tie affect it? Keeps them in a 1% chance. But I think the biggest story of this game, though, is Pickens and Justin Jefferson having less than 35 receiving yards. I mean, Justin Jefferson, I know I'm a Vikings fan. I think he's the best wide receiver in the NFL. And George Pickens has been on fire. So people betting, they hate that. Because anytime touchdown bets or over-under receiving yards, you just don't expect the player to have something like this. That was probably the biggest story out of this game.
Well, I will say I was going to make a mark about JJ too. Like, if he could just get into his groove and be, like, more consistent, like, I feel like he would have more people behind him. But if this is just a one-off chance that you finally made the, puzzle pieces fit together, that's not enough. We need more out of you kind of thing. So hopefully he's finding his groove and we can see more of this type of football because that's much better to watch than getting shut out. So, and maybe that's what he needed to get slapped in the face. But then, the week after that, they shut out a different team. So maybe this, that's what they needed to get into gear.
Well, and this is because you got to consider him still a rookie. Like, I know it's his second year, but he's a rookie. And this is what you expect when you have a rookie quarterback. It's a roller coaster. I mean, we used to live in Illinois. I mean, we still pretty much live in Illinois. We're right on the border. But, that's Caleb Williams. How many times have we heard about Caleb Williams? Like, he's got to be better. He's got to be better. And now he's playing a little bit more consistent. That's what we need to see over the offseason. The rest of the year for JJ is just, try to be more consistent every game, right?
Right.
He had 108 QBR, better than the 18% he had earlier this year. So that's, I guess, a positive. What still makes me fearful with the Vikings, though, is Justin Jefferson not getting the ball. I like that we're winning games, but and I know he keeps saying, I don't care if I catch the ball or not as long as we're winning. But like, I don't want to see him go off to another team like I saw Randy Moss do that and have a great season with the Patriots. I just don't want to see that.
Yeah.
And I will say he's still fighting for a starting position because there's going to be a lot of good quarterbacks out there in the offseason where if you're going to make that step forward on someone else or you're going to say stay with this, I will say having 3 quarterbacks in 3 years is hard to go say 4 quarterbacks in 4 years. Like,
well, yeah, and I mean, you're only going to strike gold how many times, right? I mean, like, you made the other 2 quarterbacks work. They weren't great, but if you're not going to put time into them, they're only going to be okay.
Well, and it's always great when you have a rookie deal because that's where you can pay everyone else. But, like, if you go sign Daniel Jones will be a free agent, Anthony Richardson, Kyler Murray. Wow. I don't want Aaron Rodgers. But, like, Kyler Murray, there's all these players that are going to be out there. And I think the best option for the Vikings is actually Anthony Richardson. I think he fits that offense very well. But if JJ keeps taking steps forward, I'm okay with it. Vikings fans have to be okay with this roller coaster. Like, this is what we signed up for when we said no to Kirk Cousins. This is what we signed up for when we said no to Sam Darnold. Here it is. So, and when you win like this on a Sunday night game, standalone game, just makes Monday morning feel a little bit better.
Yes, it does. And my comment to the Cowboys were, this helps me understand the ties a little bit better, I think, because when we were saying that the Packers were going to be benefiting from their tie, I was thinking it would be the opposite effect. And now I'm seeing that with the Cowboys where, like, there's not that big of a chance because of the tie. So if that was either a win, that would put them in a better contention, right? If it was another full win.
Yeah, but if it was a loss, they'd be out.
Okay, yeah.
See how that works?
Yeah, it keeps them in, but not really. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that helps explain that piece. So, and that's the only tie this season, right? Is the Packers and Cowboys?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Alrighty, well, let's move over to Monday night. We had the Dolphins versus Steelers. Now, I think I was busy watching a Christmas movie during this time, so Anthony, talk me through this game.
Yeah, we were both busy watching a Christmas movie.
I didn't want to throw you under the bus.
No, I will say we were both watching it. I mean, I was keeping my eyes on the score and kind of tuning. This game, for me, honestly, it was like if the Steelers lose, they're pretenders. If the Dolphins win, it's all for nothing. Now, before this game started, the Dolphins were 0-13 in any kickoff under 40-degree temperatures. 0-13. Well, they ended up 0-14 because they lose against the Steelers. I feel like the third quarter was a big difference in this game. When this game went into half 7-3, and then the Steelers came out and scored 2 touchdowns, go up 21-3. Now, what I don't love about the Steelers is why were we letting the Dolphins kind of get back in that game in the fourth quarter? If the Dolphins had any brain, they would have ran hurry-up offense and stuff. They didn't even do any of that. And honestly, it's Troy Aikman, I think, on Monday nights or whatever. He was going crazy about it. Like, whoa, come on. Like, onside kick. Let's go. Like, you could almost win this game. I also think another thing in this game, too, was the Dolphins have been winning their past, I think they won 4 in a row, 3 in a row or whatever, by running the ball. They couldn't do that in this game. Tua is not their quarterback. He threw an interception in the first quarter that was just god-awful. I mean, it was 10 yards short. I mean, and the guy was just sitting there like, oh, you want to throw it to me? Cool. No, but this is a big win for the Steelers. They're still in the AFC North in the lead right now. They have a big game coming up this week. Aaron Rodgers looked good this game. He looked like he was putting it. I will say the Jalen Ramsey had a sack when he came from the Dolphins this past year.
Oh.
And then Jonnu Smith had a good catch. DK Metcalf said little boy to someone, stiff-armed them and went in the end zone. This was a domination of a game. But at the same time, like Steelers, I don't know if I'd ride that wave because this team is 0-13, now 0-14 under 40-degree temperatures. And I don't know how do you equalize that because they went and practiced at some college with that temperatures and stuff like that. But it's one of those things when you're a warm place going to play in a cold place, it's hard to compete. But you also have the advantage when you take Pittsburgh down to Miami at this time because we're used to the cold, and then you get that warmth, and you're like, wait, there's humidity here? No snow? Like, so.
Right. Definitely the air difference, and like you said, those areas would make a difference. And I mean, I'm even thinking if they played Miami in the beginning of the year, it would be hard because the air is so much heavier.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, and they have the advantage. until they go and play real football. And I call it Midwest football. I know that it could be the East Coast that's cold and stuff, but I think of like the Midwest when it gets down to 3 degrees. I mean, if you think about it, the NFC North has 2 teams still that have no domes, right? So the Bears and the Packers, and we just went through negative 30 some degrees this last weekend. We saw Bears games where they were open in Minnesota and it was freezing instantly.
Yeah.
Like, that's football in my mind because I grew up around here, right? Like, I know what that's like. Where when you go to the South, when you're playing in Miami or stuff like that, you're like, wait, I gotta go play in that. You can't fake the cold. The cold is real. Getting hit, your bones hurt when you get hit because everything is cold. And I think that's what happened in this game was the first half, Miami was ready. They were warm, right? They come out, they go into halftime, and it just felt like,
everything locked up. They got cold,
Yep.
and they were shivering, and they weren't moving.
Yeah, and it really showed because the second half was just awful. Like that's the Miami Dolphins we know.
Yeah. I could also imagine like the Steelers just in normal gear because this is like normal weather for them, but then Miami's in like those heavy trench coats.
Yep. Well, it is. And the long sleeves compared to people that have no sleeves. Like, and you can't fake it. We saw last year Tennessee versus Ohio State. Tennessee's entire team, O-line, D-line, came out shirtless. And they were like, oh, yeah, we're not cold. It's just January in Ohio. We're not cold. And they got ran out of the stadium. You can't fake not being cold. It is real.
Yeah, without a doubt. All right, well, let's move over to your fantasy results here. Unfortunately, you are in the loser's bracket, but how did we do? Did we break this egg?
Yeah, no, we did not. We went we're 9 in a row on the loss. We've lost 9 in a row. We started at 1.4-2. And now I am playing for the biggest loser. The person I played against had 171 points, finished up with second most in the league this weekend. And I ended up 4th in the league for the most points. So that just shows like I did okay. The luck on this is crazy. I guess in my way, unluckiness is just crazy. Yeah, it sucks. I will be honest with you. I don't want to talk about fantasy football ever again after this year because I don't even know if I want to do it again. This, like, karma, the football gods are like, you could talk it all you want and you could do this podcast, but we're going to punish you when it comes to fantasy football.
It is unreal, this luck you've had because, yeah, you were 4-2 and you were on top of the world and you were, like, confident. And they humbled you real quick. Yeah.
I think it's because I gave myself a nickname. I'm going to be honest with you. I think when I said I was the waiver wire wizard, that's when the fantasy gods were like, oh, yeah? Watch this.
Right.
Hold my beer. You're going to lose 10 in a row.
Right, exactly. And that was the week you picked up Romeo Dobbs. Like, I remember it specifically because it was like, watch this. This guy's going to, like, go off. And he did. And then every time you thought someone would go off, or someone that was dependable did not.
Well, and I think it's because I started replying to people's messages saying, oh, yeah, you should pick up this dude. Oh, yeah, you should do this. Like, as if I knew what the hell I was doing. At the time I was 4-2, I was like, yo, I'm the manager of the year right now. And right now I'm fired. I'm fired by the end of the year.
For sure.
Yeah. So,
for sure.
Tough luck.
Well, is this it, or do you have another game?
Well, yes, we have one more week. So this is for the biggest loser.
Okay.
So I play the person that's been the biggest loser for like the past 3 years. This is also why this league does not punish because this person, they would quit because of how many bad punishments they would have. If I lose, I want to do a punishment though. Like, I don't know what it is. We've had a couple comments and a couple messages of what we should do. I will say some of them are just way too aggressive. Like, I am not doing this. I have a full-time job. I have a life. Like, I have to, like, be able to wake up the next morning and, like, be a citizen, a civil person. Like, no. So I think it's going to be food-oriented because I love food. But, I guess
I feel
Lisa
like you're coming at me. I feel like it's me that's coming up with these crazy.
Yeah, I feel like you're thinking of these punishments of food, and it's like, oh, that's not a punishment. That's a reward. Like, oh, I have to finish a lot of plates at Pizza Ranch? Oh, thank you. Like, so.
No, that's no punishment. That's a gift.
Yeah, it should be like you have to eat vegetables every day for 365 years or 365 days. That would be a hell of a punishment for me.
The punishment that never ends.
Yeah, that keeps on giving, I guess.
All right, well, fine. I'll try to think of a couple other things, but please drop your comments if you think Anthony should do something for being, if not the biggest loser, having a really bad season.
Yes.
All right, well, let's switch over to the power rankings this week. Not much to change, and that's 2 weeks in a row where we haven't had much change. So in the number 1 slot, we still have the Rams. In the number 2, we have the Seahawks. Number 3, Broncos. And number 4, Patriots. That stayed the same. The new number 5 slot is the Bears. They came from 6, and they finally made their way up to the top 5. So that makes you wonder where the Packers went. They dropped pretty far down. And now the number 6 spot is Houston Texans, while the Jags, Anthony, kind of talk me through this. The Jags are in 10th, but they're leading their conference or division.
Yep. Yeah, so they're winning the division right now. Like, if the year would end, they won the division. I think Houston's getting a bump because of their defense. Like, their defense is so good. So good. And honestly, you're just waiting for that other shoe to drop for that offense to turn it up because they can. They got Nico Collins, Schultz. They got C.J. Stroud. They got Woody Marks at running back. Like, if they can put it all together, they are a very scary team to come out of the AFC. Because I will say this, and not because Mr. Tim Cook is not on and he won't watch this, but, like, I don't think the AFC is that good this year. I think there's a possible chance of beating someone. The Bills are coming on at a good time. You got Broncos. You got Patriots, but Patriots just lost. The Broncos, we've been saying, like, what about this offense? They played good last week, but can they keep that up? I think of the Texans, if they can, like, I think they're the 2.0 of the Broncos. Like, C.J. Stroud is more proven than Bo Nix has. And Nico Collins is better than any wide receiver on the Broncos. And I think that defense right now is playing better than the Broncos defense. So I just keep an eye out for them. That's my, like, little bit of the secret sauce team. You know what I mean? I'm, like, sitting there being like, I've been telling a lot of people watch out for them. But overall, the rankings, I think the Bears coming to 5. It's well deserved.
Yeah,
I mean,
long time coming.
They beat up on the Browns. And I get it. The Browns are not good. But they made Shedeur Sanders look kind of rough. And he's been playing pretty good. Their true test will obviously come up this week when they're taking on Green Bay. But Green Bay's...
It's a different team.
Injury riddled, yeah. So I don't know if this is an actual fair comparison. But at the same time, if the Packers win, then we're taking the Bears out of that top 5.
Absolutely.
So there's a lot of pressure on the Bears, and I don't feel like as much pressure on the Packers because you can blame it on injuries now. So what do you think about this list?
Well, I do agree with you that I think the Bears, finally got their spot in. They've been teetering on like 6, 7. Oh God, I hate that I just did that.
Oh, 6, 7.
They've been teetering to get into the top 5, so I definitely think it's well deserved. Hopefully they can continue that. But yeah, I don't even know if this week is even a good testament to say. And it's crazy to think that they just played the Packers 2 weeks ago. And it's going to be a completely different team. Like, It's unfortunate because you would think that these two almost back-to-back games would be, like, super intense between the two, especially with it being, like, states right next to each other and teams that are always rivalries. So, like, it's a bummer that it's not going to be the same game on the Bears' turf. But I do think they finally deserve the chance to be in here, and they are playing well. So that's probably the one that shocked me.
Well, and what about the 1 and 2s? Rams and Seahawks, they go on it on Thursday night.
Ooh.
Like, they go at it Thursday night, and that's the same conference. Like, that's you. And honestly, the team that I'm surprised is not right there on the edge is the 49ers. The NFC West is stacked this year. The Seahawks, the Rams, the 49ers, they're all coming out of the same division. Kind of reminds you last year of, like, the Packers, the Lions, and the Vikings.
Right.
Sounds like I'm Dorothy right there. But, like...
Oh, my!
Yeah. So it is. It's one of these things where, like, these two teams are going to go at it. Devontae Adams is still questionable in this game. So I know we're going to talk about it soon, but, like, one of these teams has got to drop after the Thursday night.
Yeah, you're right. No, that is the upcoming Thursday night game. That'll be pretty good. But I did read, and maybe this might make a difference. I don't know if he'll be there or not, but I did read that the Rams head coach left immediately after the game on Sunday to welcome to the world his new baby. So that's pretty exciting. I don't know if coaches get paternity leave, but
Not during the season, honey. Not during the season. You
so
don't.
I don't know if he'll be there or not.
He'll be there.
Well, what do you think about this game?
Yeah, I'll say I think this game's gonna be awesome. I think this is what Amazon, when they were like, "Hey, let's get in bed with the NFL." This is what they were wanting right here. This game where everyone's gonna tune in on Thursday night. Everyone's gonna be excited to see, are the Rams for real with these injuries now? Or the Seahawks? Sam Darnold did not score a touchdown last week, and they still won. They beat a Phillip Rivers, a 44-year-old grandpa. But like at the same time, can they? But this is at Seattle. On a Thursday night, like on a short week, they should win this game, but I think the Rams, I will say right now, whoever wins this game is the scariest threat going into this playoffs. Because the Seahawks, if they can win, people are going to start putting them on the radar. I think teams are kind of like, well, it's Sam Darnold, and he's got to prove himself in the playoffs. Okay, and I agree with that because I'm a Vikings fan, and I saw 8 days of him shitting the bed for 2 games, but I think this game will be fun. I do like the matchup of these teams because they're very comparable. And what I mean by that is 2 running back systems. Kyron Williams, Blake Corum for the Rams, where you got Kenneth Walker and Charbonnet for the Seahawks, and then Jackson Smith-Njigba and Cooper Kupp, and then you got Devontae Adams, and you got Puka. Like, they are very comparable and I'm pretty sure they came from the same tree of coaches, right? Not family tree. Coach's tree.
Right.
So I think this will be a great matchup. I will say, I think because it's in Seattle, this would be a great game. Now, the last time they played each other, I believe Sam Darnold had 4 interceptions. And that would have been at LA. So now being at home, 12th man, can that offense still perform the way it is? I think it is. Jackson Smith-Njigba is having a hell of a season, but we'll see.
Yeah, well, and I like you were saying earlier that the Rams are dealing with some injuries, but they still pulled out their win last week. So they have other options. But you also named 4 key players, but also 4 key players for the Seahawks too. So it should be a high-scoring game. Hopefully, the defense can keep up.
Well, and last thing I'll say too is Devontae Adams has a hamstring injury. Okay, and any other player or any other game on a Thursday night, he would not play. But this is probably the biggest game of their season so far. And so he's questionable. Oh. And I don't love it because if I was a Rams fan, I'd be like, I need him in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I get it. This game does matter. But this game does matter a lot because, first off, you could be a bye if you win this game. You could have home field advantage. There's a lot riding on this game. And Devontae Adams has been a stud in the red zone and big catches. So we'll have to see. I don't think he'll play, and I don't think he should play. But the fact that they're keeping him questionable makes the Seahawks have to get ready, prepare for him.
Okay. Well, we'll have to find out Thursday night, and we will recap that on Sunday.
On Friday.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. All right, well, let's switch over to college football. We got a pretty intense weekend ahead of us, so I'm really excited to dive into that later this week. But we got, in other news, DJ Lanaway from Florida and Dylan Riola from Nebraska have officially entered the transfer portal. So we're already starting to see some key players from big schools be interested in looking elsewhere. How do you feel about that? Yeah,
so DJ was highly recruited. Just everyone was like, watch out for this guy. He's going to be a stud, possibly a Heisman candidate. He is good. Not the season that he thought he was going to have, right? Did not perform well. New coach coming in.
I was going to say, yeah.
So I don't know if the coach already has someone in mind. Now, I just want to educate, because you asked a great question on the way home when we were talking about this. Because in case people don't know, we do live together, okay? On the way home, you asked, if they enter the transfer portal, do they have to go somewhere else? No. They can enter the transfer portal and come back. Now, a third stringer doing that is probably going to get a little critique on if he came back, because he'd be like, oh, you thought you were going to go somewhere else. These guys, nah, if they came back, it's probably due to NIL. And I think DJ will leave. I think some of the teams that are out there that could take him, Oregon, because that Moore is going to head out. What about Alabama? What about because you're going to have that's where these other things kind of come on. Dylan Raiola, I think he got sold on a fake promise at Nebraska. I think they were, we're going to change this around. We're going to compete for championships. And it's just not working there. You kind of saw the writing on the wall when his brother decommitted from Nebraska because he was committed to Nebraska, decommitted. It was like, all right, so Dylan's going to enter the transfer.
He's like in high school right now?
Yes. Yeah. His brother, and I think he's a quarterback. So if his brother decommits, but yeah, 2 brothers, 2 quarterbacks. Yep. Yeah. You would think they'd be wide receiver so that they could throw it to each other.
Yeah, combo. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I think and Dylan's another player. Like he's got talent. Where does he end up? I mean, it's nice where we are at Notre Dame because as long as CJ Carr doesn't enter the transfer portal, then we're situated. I did see that the backup, McKinney, I think his name is. I can't, whatever. He's entering the transfer portal, which makes sense because CJ Carr won that starting position. He played really well this year. So why would the backup sit around and wait for another year or a couple more years because he's a true freshman or he is a redshirt freshman. But yeah, so you're going to see a lot of this. And this is where college football has it so wrong because these are 2 players on teams that are not in the playoffs. But the same thing can happen to teams that are in the playoffs. They could be losing second string, third string guys that are like, I can go start somewhere else as they're about to try to make a run for a championship. They have to change this date. It's January 2nd. I did hear a proposal of making bowl games relevant again by having them on week 0. So, on week 0, we have like only a couple games, right? Everyone plays on week 0. Everyone plays in these bowl games to make them worthy, okay? And then you can end the season a little bit earlier so that when the championship game happens, it can be closer to the transfer portal time. That allows for teams to understand, like Ohio State last year. They go to Notre Dame. They went to the championship game. Like, you can't transfer. You're not going to, it just causes a lot of confusion. That hurts for recruiting, things like that. So I did hear that one. Interesting, I guess.
Yeah, that is interesting. But you're saying the bowl games would stay in this time frame or they would move them to week?
Yes. Move them to the beginning of the year.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I think you could do it with prime, if everyone's on board. So Notre Dame, right? They said no to a bowl game. You're going to see this happen more often. And I'm not going to go down that tangent again, but you're going to see teams, they're irrelevant games. It's like the Pro Bowl. It doesn't mean anything. I don't get any more money. I'm not playing for anything. So why play in these games? But if you make it that first week, everyone plays. Yeah. Week 0, not week 1, week 0. And I don't know if you need all of the bowls that you have now.
Right. Well, but
even if you did,
say no.
But even if you did, then you're making everyone play, and that's great. And that would make a really fun opening week.
That would. It definitely would. Because the bowl games have something special to them. But I don't know if it's also because of its holiday season time frame that it makes it special. So, well, like the Rose Bowl is the one that's coming to mind specifically for me because that one's like it's in Pasadena, California, and it's on New Year's Day. It has a lot of history to it. So I feel like that's going to be harder. But
the Rose Bowl isn't the Rose Bowl anymore. And what I mean by that is it used to be a Pac-12 winner and a Big Ten winner.
Yeah.
Going to play. It's the Rose Bowl is in the college football playoffs. It could be Texas Tech versus Miami. It could be random teams. Last year, it was 2 Big Ten teams playing in the Rose Bowl. It was Oregon and Ohio State. So that's the only problem that you have is those games are irrelevant now because those are part of the playoffs.
Yeah.
But if you made the Pop-Tarts Bowl or Snoop Dogg gets a week 0 game, huh? How about that, Snoop? But you make them more relevant. And I think you would see sponsors like Coca-Cola, Dr. Pepper, all these other ones that are big. Walmart would even, because it's week 0 and everyone's watching because it is the opening week of college football.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I hear you. Well, out of the transfer portal, have you heard of anybody that's staying?
Yeah, so the biggest one obviously is Arch Manning. He's not going to transfer, but there was obviously the thought of maybe going to the NFL. He didn't have the season he wanted to have, so you knew that he was most likely going to come back. I am a little surprised coming back to Texas. I think the way the year ended, that's why he's coming back. I think about middle of the season, it might not have been Texas. But I do. I think him coming back, it only makes sense. He's obviously shown that he's willing to give up years in the NFL to make sure he's a better quarterback by the time he gets to the NFL, because he's going to go to the NFL.
Yeah.
That Manning name's going to get him there at least.
Right.
And I think one more year of him, I think that's what Texas needs right now. So, yeah, him staying it makes sense, but that's news, because he could have easily said, "Now I'm going to go to the NFL and see what I got there."
I mean, a name's not going to get you so far. I mean, look what happened to Shadur.
Yeah.
He had the name behind him and almost didn't work out for him.
But he's a starting quarterback in the NFL right now.
Now, out of injuries, and he was like 5th on the first, when they first announced it, he was on the bottom of that list. Like, now he's a starting quarterback. He clawed his way up, but initial reaction was not there.
Well, I'm going to ask you a question. I know the answer, or I'm going to give my opinion on it. Has he earned himself the starting position next year?
I would say so.
I would say so too. So he won. He won.
No,
because
for sure. But he had to work. I mean, you don't even know.
Yeah.
He had to work for it. But when he was first entered in, he was not getting the treatment that he's getting now.
Yes, and I think that's because he had to earn it, and that's exactly what he's done. Which when he got drafted where he did, we all said it. Just go and put your ass in the weight room, put yourself in the playbook. Just get into football. Love football again. Don't make it a public thing. And yeah, I think he's earned himself. I think he's playing better than what Dylan Gabriel was at the time. Yeah. And you're not obviously going to go with Deshaun Watson, because it's just bad news for him. So I think Shadur, yeah.
But for Arch's sake, I think in my mind he reminds me of JJ. Like, you're just too fragile. Like, you're just gonna get like broken in half like a toothpick. I don't think he's ready.
I think it's more of his footwork why he's not there. He's a solid kid. Like, he's solid. He runs the ball a lot. I think he could take the hits in the NFL. I think my biggest thing with him is, like, that footwork has to be prestige. Like, it has to be like you can do it in your sleep. Like, you're sitting in bed, like your crazy legs that you got, like just kicking them around, and like that's a 3-step drop, right? That's what he needs to get into. And the fundamentals of that is what he's going to get by coming in next year.
Okay.
All right, let's move on. I'm going to take it over. Let's move on to the college volleyball. And I'm going to kick it over to you, Lisa, being the stud volleyball player that you were. What are we seeing upcoming, and who do you think is going to win to make it to the championship?
Yeah, so we got our Final Four here for the Women's D1 tournament. We have Texas A&M and Pitt going against each other Thursday. And also on Thursday night, we have Wisconsin versus Kentucky. So we got some pretty good games here. And then the national championship is going to be on Sunday afternoon. So definitely we'll be tuning into these 3 games. I think we're recording on one of them, but it's okay. I'll have it ready. On the Texas A&M Pitt side, I think I'm going to stick with Texas A&M. I think their defense and their blocking game is a lot stronger than just a couple of good attackers from what I saw last week with Pitt. What do you think on that? You also watched these 2 games, so you kind of have a idea of...
Oh, no. You go give me both the winners on that one, because this is just like you do in the NFL. I want to hear what you say first.
Yes, okay, so I just said I was going to pick A&M. So where do you stand? You watched both Pitt and A&M win. So where do you think this lies?
I'm going to go a little bit more like of a sports mentality, okay? Their biggest game was obviously Nebraska. And I think if Nebraska plays them again today, Nebraska wins. I truly do. I think that was an off night for Nebraska. But... does Texas A&M come out slow after beating, like, they had all that hype, they had all that, they were in Nebraska. I think Pitt, I think it was the number 2. I don't know. There was a girl in the number 3. Oh yeah, they're in the number 3 team. But I meant, like, there's a girl on that Pitt where she was just putting it down. Like, she gets those sets. Yes. And I will say that is scary, because when you get one player going like that, and I know Texas A&M can block the way that they did, Can they keep it up for this one? Also, they got film on each other, which they had film all this year. But like, I'm actually going to go opposite on you. I think Pitt wins this game. I think Texas A&M kind of has a letdown game.
Interesting. Okay. No, I definitely think that they had a solid block on all sides of the net when they were playing Nebraska. So that's where I'm saying, like, you can have a really good hitter and you can have a phenomenal setter that can attack too. But if the block is reading you, like, you have to play around that. And we saw how then Nebraska had to like do deep shots and high shots. And then the defense was able to move around that. So it'll be interesting. Yeah. If you could play these two games next up to each other, I'm excited to see what this is going to look like. Well, on the other side of the bracket, we have Kentucky versus Wisconsin. And unfortunately, we did not watch the Creighton and Kentucky game, but Kentucky did win in a set of 4. But we did watch Wisconsin just handily take over Texas. That was also a 4 set, but it just looked effortless to Wisconsin. So between this game, I haven't seen much on Kentucky, but I'm going to stick with the state we live in. I'm going with Wisconsin. What do you think?
Yeah, I got to go with Wisconsin on this one. I just think that they quieted the noise in Texas. Like when they played Texas, I mean, I know that they kept showing Spears, which Mr. Tim Cook was talking about, his daughter's playing and stuff like that. They kept showing that, and the crowd was loud. But it couldn't be loud for long because then Wisconsin would take it over. Yeah, I definitely think Wisconsin. I will take a comment that we got from one of our things that these 4 teams have the most transfers in the transfer portal. So as much as we talk about the transfer portal in college football, basketball, things like this, it also happens in volleyball. I think Wisconsin wins this game. I think it'd be very exciting to see a Wisconsin Pitt, Wisconsin, Texas A&M, one of those as well. But yeah, I think Wisconsin wins.
Yeah, I'm excited to see this game because it even when I was growing up, like Wisconsin was always the school that I looked up to like potentially play in one day.
Yeah.
Obviously, I went D3, a different path for me, but like my parents and I would, and my sister too, we'd all take a trip up to Madison, which is, up in there. It is not convenient. But it's just a different atmosphere. It's always been a powerhouse of a school, so I'm definitely going to be rooting for them for sure.
Well, and we got to represent the Big Ten. You know what I mean? Like right now, you have the ACC, Texas A&M's SEC. In full transparency, this might not even be correct because I'm just naming the football ones. But yeah, I think, and I know Wisconsin's Big Ten, but like I think that's the way we want Wisconsin to win. And then we'll talk on Friday about who we think is going to win the championship, depending on who wins Thursday.
Yes.
Right?
But yep. Both teams play on Thursday. So when we talk about this, it'll be after the fact. So maybe we do a little clip.
Okay. Yeah. We'll have to do, like, me and you will have to do a little clip on that one. Okay. Well, yeah, I will say college volleyball has been fun. It does match up on the same night as that, great NFL game that we just talked about too. So we're going to have the 2 TVs going. Right?
Rock, paper, scissors.
I think you're gonna lose that one.
I don't think so.
Amazon doesn't work on the small TV, so
you got the Xbox. It's fine.
I can't download it. I can't do it. It's already maxed out. So, all right. Well, that is episode 174, where we talked about the NFL and college football and college volleyball. As we love sports. Sports are great for people to do, okay? I don't care what you do, whether it's volleyball, basketball, baseball, golf, whatever. Do it. Water polo. Have fun with it. It builds team camaraderie. It will teach you things that classrooms will never teach you, okay? Do not be afraid of sports. Do sports. But if you like what we do on this podcast, follow us on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and all those. We will be back on Friday, where hopefully Mr. Tim Cook is joining us. Hopefully StreamYard can get their shit together so that we can have him on there. Have a great rest of your week, and we will talk to you on Friday.